Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to our avid listeners, and welcome to our new magazine radio program entitled The Philippines in ASEAN, One Vision, One Identity, One Community. I'd like to welcome everyone here. We'll be airing for 1 hour from 5 p.m. up to 6 p.m. and we will tackle various topics about ASEAN and the Philippines in ASEAN. And for our maiden episode this afternoon, we will have the topic entitled Knowing the Basics of ASEAN by Heart, and this will run for another 1 hour. And to our listeners, the thrust of this program is to inform the general public about ASEAN, its history and structure, news and information, and recent developments about the association. The program also aims at increasing awareness and participation, leading to the creation of an ASEAN community in 2015. And for this afternoon's episode, we are very much honored to have a very, very special resource person, a friend, a teacher, a mentor, and a colleague. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming one of the directors, or rather the director for ASEAN Economic Community of the ASEAN Philippines National Secretariat, located at the Department of Foreign Affairs in Pasay City, Metro Manila, the affable Director Randy Orquiza. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, JP.
And thank you on behalf of radio station DXJP 107, our new radio. Thank you for gracing our invitation. It's an honor for us. We've been waiting for this maiden episode, and I know you are really, really busy at work and on your personal level also. So what's up with ASEAN these days, Director Randy?
Thank you for the opportunity, JP. I would like also to congratulate you and the staff behind you for organizing and for coming up with this maiden episode. And good evening also to your very, very avid listeners.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Randy, we heard, we have read in the newspapers about ASEAN for the past 40 years, the existence of ASEAN. And now we recently heard about this ASEAN community in 2015. It's all in the newspapers and all over other radio news media. Can you tell us what exactly is this ASEAN community in 2015?
That's right. You are very correct, JP. Come December 31st, 2015, will be the date of the realization of the ASEAN community. Well, we have to take note though, JP, that the ASEAN community involves actually three pillars. So first, we have the political security community, which envisions a community of shared rules and norms dealing with the political and maritime security of the region. Then we have the socio-cultural community, which deals with the livelihood and identity of the ASEAN people. And the third pillar, which is also the most important and most well-known of all the pillars, is the AEC, or the so-called ASEAN Economic Community, which is dealing with a community or looking forward to a community of integration and competitiveness.
Okay, so we're talking of ASEAN community of 2015. Is this because I heard about the ASEAN Vision 2020, and based on our research, the ASEAN 2020 will now be ASEAN 2015. Am I correct?
That is very correct, yes.
Okay, so, but before we go on with this ASEAN community, this very interesting topic, I'd like to let our listeners and the general public know about ASEAN, the basics of ASEAN. Can you provide us, Director Randy, an overview of ASEAN, the creation of ASEAN, who are the member countries, and what are the aims or principles of this regional association called ASEAN?
Okay. ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, was founded in 1967, on August 8, 1967 to be exact. So it's now in its 47th year of existence. So the Philippines is one of the founding members of ASEAN, together with Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and Malaysia. Now ASEAN has grown to 10, with the addition of Brunei in 1984, Vietnam in 1995, Laos and Myanmar in 1997, and last but not the least, Cambodia joined ASEAN in 1999. So as of now, all ASEAN member states, or they call it AMS, are now deep in the preparations for the upcoming ASEAN integration in 2015.
In 2015.
Right.
So this ASEAN committee in 2015, the Philippines is not only the country involved, but the whole 10 member countries, and in each individual countries, which are very unique, they also had made some adjustments
That is correct.
for their tariff codes. If I remember it correctly, and make some adjustments on their customs valuation
That's right.
for a freer trade between and among the ASEAN member countries in 2015.
That is right.
Okay, let's talk about free trade. I know there is a free trade in ASEAN, in particular, ASEAN member countries, and I'm aware that there is an ASEAN free trade with China, Japan, and South Korea.
Yes.
Can you, for the benefit of our listeners, can you briefly give us an overview about this free trade, and from the three countries, would it be enlarged into a free trade community?
Thank you again, DJ JP. Now, as of now, ASEAN is presently engaging in strong relations with its dialogue partners. So there are present at least at present 5 FTAs, or free trade agreements, with China, Japan, Korea, India, and Australia and New Zealand. With 5 FTAs, the vision of the ASEAN community would somehow come into fruition. So ASEAN in itself, AFTA, the AFTA, is ASEAN Free Trade Area. So ASEAN is not only dealing with it within themselves, they're also dealing outwardly. So they now deal with the 5 dialogue partners. But aside from this, ASEAN also deals with the global economy. So there are ongoing negotiations for a regional comprehensive economic partnership, which means all 6 dialogue partners with the 5 FTAs are now combined into one comprehensive economic agreement. So the Philippines, together with 9 ASEAN member states and the 6 dialogue partners, will now come up, hopefully, to be realized by 2015 again. The regional comprehensive economic partnership shall come into fruition.
Okay, thank you for enlightening us about this RCEP, or what you call the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. I'm pretty well sure that the Philippine economy will benefit from the enlargement from the AFTA to the RCEP. And I understand that even within the AFTA, there were issues before, I don't know if still an issues now, about the sensitive lists on agriculture. Has it been resolved? I mean, for the benefit of our farmers
Yes.
around the country, what exactly happened with the sensitive list in agriculture under AFTA?
So, very good question, DJ JP. I believe the question deals with 3 things, or a lot of issues actually. AFTA, or the ASEAN Free Trade Area, has been realized. So since 2010 actually, tariff duties of almost all goods, or 99%, the tariff duties of all goods have been brought down to 0. Meaning, the ASEAN 6 member countries, that means the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Singapore, together with Brunei, have all made the tariff lines 0 on 99% of its products. But the ASEAN other countries, the CMLV countries, called CLMV, that means Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam, they are given the leeway or the privilege of bringing down the 0 tariff level in 2015. Now this brings us back to the tariff of the sensitive list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since 99% have been brought down to 0 level, so there are still a few very, very special products of the Philippines which cannot be brought down to 0. So these are primarily geared towards the agriculture product, rice and sugar. Rice will be brought down from 40% tariff rate, should be brought down to around 35% by 2015. Sugar, from more than 10%, will come down to 8 by 2015, it should reach 5%. So aside from rice and sugar, we have maize, potato. So this is one way of protecting our farmers. This by way of government subsidy or trying to, although they sometimes call this protectionism, but Philippines somehow tries to protect its own. But ultimately, along the post 2015 scenario, all member states are supposed to reduce or ultimately bring back or bring down to zero all tariff levels.
Thank you, Director Randy. Let's go back to RCEP. I'm quite interested about the RCEP. But before that, I have to connect this to going back to the basics of ASEAN. I know for a fact that the ASEAN member countries, or ASEAN in particular, has dialogue partners, and these dialogue partners are cooperating with ASEAN as a regional bloc for political, security, economic, and socio-cultural cooperation. Who are these ASEAN dialogue partners?
So as I've mentioned earlier, China, Japan, Korea, India, Australia, New Zealand, so that comprises around 6 members. In addition to these countries, we have United States, Canada, the EU, and well, that's somehow the majority of all the dialogue partners.
And does ASEAN also has a relations with the non-government organizations? Like I understand there is this IPA, or the ASEAN Interparliamentary Association, and some other privately or private organizations like the ASEAN Chemical Association.
Yes.
We were informed that ASEAN also is in link with these associations, in hoping to forge relations with the ASEAN Secretariat for expanding its horizons, and one of those is a proposal to have the goods and services, including the professionals,
Yes.
to work, to freely work from one country to another within the ASEAN region. Has that been materialized? Like an accountant in the Philippines can work as an accountant in Singapore without taking a board exams or taking another licensure. Was that proposal been introduced already or discussed in any meetings or fora within the ASEAN mechanism, or not yet?
Actually, these measures are included in the AEC blueprint. So meaning, as you can see, one of the key elements of an ASEAN economic community is the free flow of goods, free flow of services, free flow of skilled labor, free flow of freer capital, and free flow of investments. So in terms of free flow of skilled labor, the MRAs now come in. So your question on whether professionals can work in other countries,
That's right.
that's one of the measures being envisioned. So we foresee an ASEAN community where professionals from all ASEAN member states can freely work in other countries. So this is done by way of the MRAs. So this is what we call the mutual recognition arrangements. Yes, so this covers actually around 8. There are 8 professional services covered here. So these are the fields
mention?
of medicine, nursing, and in the engineering, surveyors, architects, and also included are tourism professionals. So ongoing talks are being held to somehow link all the professionals in all ASEAN member states so that they can come and work in each other's
And
country.
hopefully, as part of this ASEAN community in 2015, some of these MRAs will be implemented by next year, or still to be rehashed for further discussions?
Yes, as of now, ongoing discussions are being made. The most advanced professional service is engineering. So they are trying to make a registry of all engineers in all ASEAN member states, come up with a registered registry of engineers, and make the facilitation of all engineers be flowing throughout the
Okay.
region.
It's a very good news for the Pinoys here,
Yes.
Mr. Randy, because we have a lot of nurses, we have a lot of engineers, and a great number of them are abroad, particularly in the Middle East. And if these MRAs will be hopefully signed and implemented, then there's a new venue for them to come near to the Philippines and just work within the region. Anyway, in our research, we heard about this ASEAN Charter. We found out that this ASEAN Charter was signed in 2008, and can you tell us something about this ASEAN Charter? What's the importance of this ASEAN Charter?
That is right, the DJJP. ASEAN Charter was signed and adopted in 2008. So what does this mean? This means the ASEAN is now an intergovernmental organization with legal personality. That means the ASEAN can now undertake to sign agreements and protocols which are binding to all ASEAN member states. So starting from 2008, there have been agreements and protocols that were signed and ratified by each ASEAN member state.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Randy. Much we wanted to continue this interview. I guess we're running out of time, and I think the producers of the show would like to invite you for our next episode. I think we will send you the written invitation. But for my last question, with respect to the ASEAN Charter, I've checked the website of the ASEAN Secretariat, and I've read the translation of into Filipino language of the ASEAN Charter. In fact, this ASEAN Charter, this document, the original was written in English, and it has been translated into 10 national languages in ASEAN, and one of those is in Wikang Filipino. I've seen the document, I've read the document, 24 pages. So from there, how do we use this document? The ASEAN Charter in Wikang Filipino.
This is actually one of the objectives of one of the pillars of ASEAN community. We have talked about political community, the economic community, the socio-cultural community comes into this context, meaning we are trying to envision a community of ASEAN peoples coming together. So all different religions and cultures will come into harmony to have this ASEAN identity. So the ASEAN Charter is a mechanism, is a channel, a medium to go to the grassroots, and along the vision of ASEAN education, we are foreseeing a curriculum which includes ASEAN.
Oh,
So
very
that means ASEAN will now be included in the elementary, high school, and college.
So it will be included not only in K-12 but up to tertiary level.
Yes, so it will be, it promotes ASEAN awareness.
That's a great news, because you're right, it promotes ASEAN awareness. And like our radio program, we are actually also in support of the ASEAN motto, one vision, one identity, and one community. And the thrust of our program is actually public awareness on ASEAN, recent developments about ASEAN, and the Philippines in ASEAN in particular. Well, Mr. Randy Arquiza, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're so happy and we're so honored to have you here, and thank you for your valuable inputs. I'm pretty well sure that our listeners nationwide have got something very relevant from you, and hopefully in our next episode you will be back with us, and we'll be very much happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, DJ JP.
But before you leave, I'd like to present to you this small token of appreciation from DZJP,
Thank you very much for this token of appreciation.
to remind you that you've been here and that you're one of our maiden guests for this maiden episode program entitled Knowing the Basics of ASEAN by Heart. Thank you.
I look forward to the next event.
You're welcome, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the interview with Mr. Randy Arquiza, Director for ASEAN Economic Community of the ASEAN Philippines National Secretariat, about knowing the basics of ASEAN. And to recap, Mr. Randy Arquiza was basically talking about the ASEAN community in 2015, which is originally the ASEAN Vision 2020. And he was talking about the three pillars of the ASEAN community, which is the political security, socio-cultural community, and the economic community. He also provided us with a brief overview of ASEAN, starting with the birth of ASEAN on August 8, 1967, with 5 regional members. That's Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. And 6 other member countries followed suit. That comprises the 10 member states of the ASEAN. He also mentioned to us about the free trade areas, and he made mention specifically of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, wherein aside from AFTA or the intra free trade area, ASEAN is now cooperating with the dialogue partners under the RCEP. And going back to AFTA, he also mentioned that in 2010, tariff duties were brought down to 0%. That means about 99% of the tariff lines were already reduced to 0%, except for the 4 remaining countries, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam, which has been given until 2015 to make the major adjustments of their tariff lines. And the other thing is that Mr. Randi also mentioned to us, or presented to us, the member countries, the dialogue partners of ASEAN, which are about 10 member countries. And these member countries are very important to ASEAN because cooperation are being fostered, either political and security, economic matters, and or information and cultural matters. And he also mentioned about, this is very interesting for us Filipinos, especially for professionals. He mentioned about the MRAs, or this is about the professions wherein a Filipino can practice his profession to other ASEAN member countries. The MRAs are the agreements wherein a profession could be practiced to another ASEAN member countries. And this includes the practice of medicine, nursing, engineering, architects, and a few others. And hopefully by 2015, some of these MRAs will be implemented. And lastly, Mr. Randi also mentioned about the ASEAN Charter, wherein one of the objectives of this ASEAN Charter is to give a legal personality for this regional association in the international community. And of course, it's actually a commitment by our political leaders, the highest authority of all the 10 member countries, to continue foster regional cooperation, regional peace and security within the region. And we would like, on behalf of Radio DZJP, we would like to thank once again, Director Randy Arquiza of the ASEAN Philippines National Secretariat. Of course, to the rest of the members of the ASEAN Philippines National Secretariat, thank you very much. And to our listeners, thank you for listening for our radio program. And we encourage you to give us feedback, either Twitter, Facebook, or text, or email us. And hopefully we could reply to your queries on our next episode, which is on Thursday. And again, same time from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is your host, DJ JP of DZJP 107, your new radio. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mabuhay po.